All right, welcome to the Dales Report. Happy to be joined today with the CEO of Numinus Wellness, Peyton Nyquist, along with General Manager and Science Officer Sharon Sidhu. Sharon, Peyton, welcome back to the show. Peyton, how are things?
Things are going very well, How about you?
Excellent. Busy as always. Sharon, I'm sure you can probably relate. I'm assuming it's very, very busy times. And even though it's been a little bit quiet on the investor side, but behind the scenes, this industry is, I would think, progressing at a rapid pace from what you're going through, I would think, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely is. We've been many developments over the last few months.
Yeah, it's great. Peyton, I want to begin. You just filed a provisional patent application with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, otherwise known as USPTO, for a process that dramatically increases the production of therapeutics for use in psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. So just to be clear for viewers and investors, this patent involves a formulation process and not the patent of the psilocybin molecule, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And I think a very important thing to note, the company's very, focused on accessibility for people. And so really for us, this patent and the opportunity to start to produce a psilocybin product from natural sources continues to sort of streamline our commitment and focus our commitment on accessibility.
Yeah. So when I say this patent involves a formulation process and not the patenting of the psilocybin molecule, maybe explain to my viewers a little bit the difference between the two.
Yeah, obviously psilocybin is a naturally occurring molecule in nature, and we believe there's no patentability around the actual molecule itself. And this is much more around our process and how we end up at a natural psilocybin product.
Okay. In the press release, bold statement, you described the patent and process as having the potential to transform the sector. Why is that, and why do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think, if we look at psilocybin and we look at the potential advantages of from a natural source, from what we've seen, if all things were created equal, we should see an exact comparable product to a synthetic with, obviously, we believe the advantage of it being a natural psilocybin product. And then over and above that, we believe that there's potential therapeutic benefit to a natural psilocybin product. And when I say psilocybin also, that we believe there are other molecules potentially in psilocybin containing mushrooms that may have therapeutic benefit as well, which could potentially obviously increase the value of a psilocybin product from natural sources.
That can't be underestimated. Like, how important is that, do you think, as this industry matures more and more? Because we hear a lot of that conversation and language being used all the time.
I think, I think it's huge. I think as we continue to really focus on patient outcomes or client outcomes, how do we continue to further that commitment? And I believe this is a big step in that direction. And as well, even just providing more and more accessibility for people. There's this is potentially more cost effective. And obviously there's a lot of people who turn to psychedelic assisted psychotherapy who have been let down by synthetic medications. And so this is an opportunity for people to explore a more natural route.
Yeah. Sharon, I want to focus a little bit. Back in March, you came onto TDR and explicitly stated that Numinus did not want to create any kind of patents that would make the therapeutics inaccessible. This patent process, in fact, appears to follow up on what you plan to deliver by making natural form psilocybin more accessible to your patients. So does your original mission statement remain the same, that Numinus will never attempt to monopolize the therapeutic molecules or IP that will suppress access to patients?
Yeah, accessibility has always been a key consideration for Numinus in general. And, this technology and this innovation, this development that we're working on, that we've patented is, or, we've submitted the patent for, is exactly that, right? It is speeding up the process of formulation, scaling up what we can do in a given footprint, in a given space of time, to be able to deliver therapeutics more efficiently, more cost effectively, reproducibly, and limits on variability, which is a key issue for Health Canada and for the FDA when it comes to naturally sourced therapeutics from psilocybin mushrooms or any other psychoactive material or any other botanical material for that matter. What we are trying to do here is have some regulatory confidence that when we submit to Health Canada an application for a product for a clinical trial, that we are going to get no issues when it comes to batch production, when it comes to variability, and where it comes to our limits on testing detection limits, as well as our label claims. When we put this process in motion, we took all of that into consideration. Is this going to hinder the industry, or is this going to accelerate what we want to do, you know, and make these therapeutics more accessible? And I believe that we have we've achieved that with this innovation.
Do you think as an industry as a whole, this is being done enough? And if not, what opportunity do you think that presents for your company?
Whether this industry, I mean, you know, we talk about an industry, it's very nascent, right? We talk about, you know, what are the common goals for this industry? If that common goal is accessibility, if that common goal is to get the therapies that are much needed tools for mental health and other conditions to where they need to get, then are we on the right path as an industry, as a nascent industry, right? And we're still having those conversations, so we don't know today whether everybody else is on the same path as us, but we can say that we are doing what we can to make therapies more accessible.
Makes sense. Understanding in most cases with a lot of companies, they don't want to reveal exactly how they formulate a patent, but instead I'd like to get an idea to meaning methods for a safe supply, scientific expertise, and cutting edge technology. What I would like to learn more of, though, is what kind of coordination does it take between all divisions to discover a transformative process worth patenting? Because I'm sure there's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's the art of science, really. Coming, you know, and a lot of discoveries happen by accident. A lot of discoveries are, you know, you find something that you didn't intend to find. You discover something that you didn't intend to discover. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, that's exactly what happened here. We found something that we did not think we would find. We discovered something that we did not think we would discover. And then once we started down the road of this discovery, we continued. And, you know, we found many things. We found so many things that we were surprised to have found. It's very exciting. It's very innovative. And we really can't wait to do more, right? To do more work in this area, to do more of these discoveries. We're just scratching the surface right now. It's very exciting here.
Well, when I think of your background and you've been in the psychedelic space, if there's one or two things that you could point out based on your experience so far, and let's face it, for both of you, this is an early stage industry. Sharon, what would you put into words as to what you're experiencing, knowing what you just outlined, like new things that you're learning every single day? But it's incredible some of the research that is actually starting to come to fruition, even though we're at the early stages of the industry.
I think the way I would describe it is exhilarating, right? Like, you know, it's been a long time since.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since you've had the opportunity in science to make discoveries.
Yeah.
Right? It has been. And I'm talking about, you know, unless you're going out into space and discovering new organisms, you know, it's been a long time in the scientific world where we've made discoveries that can really have an impact on human health. So this is very, very exciting, very exhilarating.
Yeah, it's very encouraging to say the least. Paige, shifting back to you, based on the recent announcements and the IP strategy you've outlined today, put this all together. What does this mean in the grand scheme of your intellectual property portfolio, and how will it give you a competitive advantage moving forward that you haven't already outlined?
Well, Sharon already said exhilarating, so I guess you know, I have to think of a new one. But really, you know, again, I think it continues to point to our commitment around accessibility. You know, if you look at the presentations of any psychedelic company right now, you know, there's these grand numbers that unfortunately we talk about in regards to mental health. And as Sharon mentioned, I think we're just barely scratching the surface of you know, where we see massive opportunities, and with Numinus and the way that we're situated to be able to really focus on accessibility from a very real standpoint, and start to really address some of those massive numbers that we see, unfortunately, in regards to the mental health crisis that we're in currently.
Yeah, I have to ask one last question. Maybe it's a question for both of you, and that is like, what are, I guess, key questions when, whether you're an investor or a consumer and you're getting involved in this space, the importance of accessibility? You and I have talked about it in the past, Sharon, but maybe translate it again and just remind people the importance of that, because what happened with big pharma? Obviously, you want to make it more accessibility for this industry, but can you maybe elaborate a little bit, if you can, Sharon, on the importance of it all?
It is. So we've had discussions with, patients, just on a one-on-one basis, that have nothing to do with the work that we're doing here, right? But knowing, from word of mouth that there are tools out there that could be used and that are not readily available, it's sad, right? And that's what it is. It's sad that there are tools out there that can make a huge difference that are just not available to, the majority of people, right? How do we change that?
Well, and you want to add to that, Peyton?
Yeah, I just, echo everything that Sharon says. And I think, while it is very sad, I think the other thing is the huge amount of optimism that we carry in regards to, you've seen huge regulatory advancements already in Canada and in the US. The clinical trial data continues to be more and more compelling every time we see results come out. And so
can I ask you something? Can I ask you something
Sure.
based off of that? You're a CEO of a company. You see things every single day that the average investor is still trying to learn. When you say advancements, even this calendar year, how much change have we seen from January to now?
Well, I think, it's something not to be unaccounted for in terms of, in Canada, we've seen changes, or we've seen Section 56 licenses get approved for people. You've now seen the intent to change the special access drug program. You've seen, if you look even to on a more micro or Numinus focused level, you've seen, Health Canada continue to grant us more and more opportunities in regards to the licensing we have to be able to operate. And now you've seen, obviously, in the US, the big push in California and other states to start to decriminalize as well. So you've seen huge, and I think not to forget as well, this has all happened during a pandemic. It's not like regulators aren't busy as it is.
Do you think that's become more of a priority because of the pandemic and what we're going through?
And I say this all with, I want to say, unfortunately, yes. The pandemic has really, really taken a toll on people and their mental health, and I think there's this recognition of something needs to be done, and I think people are at their limit now, and so the opportunity there is there's a huge amount of innovation that's been bred from that, and hopefully, a lot more successful treatments for people.
It's great. This has been fun, or I should say in Sharon's words, exhilarating. Appreciate the time. Sharon, Peyton, thanks for connecting. Let's keep in touch.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.